Well, there is news, good news, interesting news, and there's bad news. How bad, we don't know yet. I'll get to that. Hey guys, it really does help if you subscribe to the channel. Making comments helps. Clicking that thumbs up button, clicking share, and tell your friends. All those things feed the algorithm, help the video get some attention, which gets more viewers, which hopefully gets more subscriptions, which eventually allows me to monetize, which might allow me to actually pay some of the bills. Thanks a lot. Back to the video. I'm Forrest Poston. This is WVU Football Going Deep. And I'm going to start with basketball. A lot of it's not officially announced yet, but the staff for Coach DeVries appears to be pretty much set. I think may need to add still an assistant coach, maybe two. Not entirely clear how things are going to work out with some of the guys hired, whether they will be used as coaches or just personnel development and that type of thing. Also, Bembry has officially entered the portal, and Johnson is unofficially entering the portal. It's been announced out there in the media, just nothing official yet. So we're down to two players left over from last year's team. But now that things are more or less settled with coaches, and I won't go into that because it's not official and I haven't taken a close look at it, but I do think that we will see some fairly rapid movement in the next 1 to 2 weeks as far as signing players through the portal. I will get to, I suppose, what most of you are going to be interested in. There are some interesting things coming later in the video, so don't just go away when I tell you that Corey McIntyre is hurt. Appears to be a knee injury. Coach Brown said that they don't know the extent of it at this point, but that it didn't look good. So I think we can figure he's out for spring, summer, maybe for fall. We may be losing a season. We do still have lots and lots of talent on the defensive line, but might need to sign somebody in the portal as somebody to tide things over, but want to see the full status before that decision is made. Other updates on injuries are generally good. Redwood, Spells, Taylor, Rimac, those guys are all on track. Crandall has a nagging hamstring that's not really serious, but hamstrings do have that tendency to linger. Malashevitz had a minor surgical procedure on not a new problem, but one that has been nagging him, and decided it was better to take care of it now rather than trying to limp through the season. Limp seeming to be the operative word. Interestingly, he said if we were in the season, Donaldson could play. They're still holding him out of contact. He's going through most things, but he's not, really doing any heavy contact. But if this were real, he could play if needed. So that is good news. Now let's kind of flip through a whole number of things. Coach Brown was asked about guys who are standing out on special teams who weren't necessarily expected to be factors. One of the first he mentioned was Jalen Anderson. That is good to hear. He didn't say specifically what Anderson is doing on special teams. I know he's been tried on kickoff returns. What was for good or bad, he said that in previous years it was a matter of Anderson not wanting to play special teams. Now the talk has gotten through enough that he is at least willing to play special teams. So it does sound like there has been an ongoing attitude problem, not so much that he's a bad guy, but just doesn't necessarily really understand what it takes. Now he is acting, better, but how deep does the realization go? I think that's going to be the question. I don't know that special teams will be enough to keep him here. T.J. Johnson has been a pleasant surprise, as well as Colin McBee. Mentioned him in a previous video. Said Reed Carrico doing well in both defense and special teams. Zay Jennings, he was kind of expected to play, but it's still looking that way. He's doing well on special teams. Defense is still a little fast for him, but coming along. Berlitz in punch shield, which we don't usually talk about much, and also kickoff return. And Jordan Jackson looking good on both defense and special teams. With the young guys who are in camp, said Boyce and Gabriel are looking like they will get snaps come fall. He mentioned Gabriel at nose. I don't know if he may get shifted more out to tackle. I think he can play both. I forget, can't. I think he may be one of the guys who's, Kinsler's getting time at all three. Yeah, well. Back to the whole kickoff coverage issue that came up again, and Brown covered some more details that Coons hadn't, particularly missed tackles, and they've developed special practice techniques to work on just the type of missed tackle that they were having issues with. So we're getting down to the details. What I found the most interesting part of the press conference, so after 2022, which he considered the worst year because he didn't think the team played to their potential. In previous years they played to or maybe above potential. 2022 was a problem, and he said he hit the reset button, complete reset. Looked at everything they were doing and changed a lot of the approaches right down to how they teach and prep for tackling in the strength training. I never thought of Mike Joseph's, training regimen being directly tied to specific techniques. Turns out, they do things, working for the hands and angles and decelerating. I never thought about training how to decelerate, but they do. And Coach Brown calls it a reboot. And, he said, we are in the 16th month of the reboot. And I know some people are going to freak out. Oh, hey, it's like, year zero all over again. No, it's not. For one thing, you can't reboot if you don't have a basis that you're working from. And this is just more evidence that Coach Brown watches, thinks, learns, applies. He saw the need for changes, made the changes. I think we saw evidence of that last year. And he's, tackling is already better this spring than it's been in the past. So seems to be showing, of course, some of that's experienced players and some better players. But I've always liked Coach Brown's approach because he learns. Other people call him stubborn. They act like he doesn't change. Well, he does. All right. Now, again, specify that something he said before. He wants the identity of the team to be disciplined, strained, tough, physically and mentally, and smart. And of course, smart's always mattered in football, but in the modern game, it matters more. Adjustments with wide receivers. He said when a wide receiver is new to the system, all they worry about is teaching them the route. It's in this formation, this play, this is your job. Now that they have guys who are more experienced, they want them to learn concepts. What is behind how the offense is designed? That means these guys are able to adjust to other positions, and it's also going to play a role in adjusting routes, because exactly what route you run, which way you cut, all of this can change based on what the defense does. And if you don't have a receiver who can make those changes and see the same thing the quarterback sees, you have limits on what you can do, and you have mistakes that can be costly on the field. So, and again, this is something some coaches never go into concepts. All they want is for you to learn the X's and O's specifically. And again, Brown is big on learning. He's a teacher in the true sense of teacher. So concepts and understanding matter. And long term, that pays benefits. That pays big, big benefits. We'll see it more this year. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it was noted that, I don't think I mentioned it in the video, maybe I did, but Gallagher was used briefly on defense. General thinking was that it was just for the heck of it, and maybe Gallagher messing around himself. Nope. Turns out it's something that has been a possibility since recruiting. Gallagher was known as a quarterback. He also played cornerback in high school. Not a lot of film of him doing that. He didn't get trained in how to do it because he was playing so much quarterback. But it was a possibility Brown discussed with Gallagher and his father in recruiting. They tossed him over there at nickel just to see what would happen. Turned out he did do pretty good, so now they're giving him some training. They do not plan to try to make him a nickel. Brown made it clear he's an offensive player. He's pushing for a starting role this year. But he could get a few plays at nickel, and a lot of it is just in case. We have much better depth at defensive back this year than in the past. But remember the past and the injuries we've had. So the depth you have now can never be too much because you don't know what you're going to run into. Luckily, Corey McIntyre is the only big loss so far. But we saw, I don't know how many we lost. Who else? Trotter and Miller and I think others in the spring last year. And then Lathan, and then, it was nasty. So this is just in case. It's not a big deal. It's not a change of plans. Don't get overly excited. Discussion boards are great wringing of hands and moaning and all of this. So it's just interesting. Kind of like the fact that they've, said hello to the receiver from Penn State who's in the portal. Right now, that's a non-story. If they make an offer, well, if they try to get an official visit, it becomes an interesting story. If they make an offer, it's a bigger story. But, right now it's going to be a question of, is he a fit for the culture? He's got the ability. That's not a question. But if he doesn't fit the culture, he's out. And I don't, there's no need to push things. We have a good receiving room. We have a very good receiving room. As far as portal stuff, Brown did say could use one or two more bodies in the defensive backfield. The depth is pretty good there, but it's not overwhelming. So yeah, defensive line maybe, but a lot of that depends on the injury status. And I would suspect maybe they'll take some looks at guys, some of the younger guys, and TJ Jackson can play both ends, so sliding guys here and there. And then see what to do about the portal. Wide receiver room, he said he likes the body types we've got. Only thing missing is the really tall 6'4" or plus receiver. Okay, if you've got one detail you're missing, that ain't bad. Spring game. When you're watching the game from home, yeah, you kind of want to see a game. That's understandable, but Brown also likes to make it a celebration and really get the fans involved. He wants to find ways to get young fans involved. We saw some of that last year, and man, it was great to see Garrett Green interacting with some of the kids. He's a natural for that. And also give, young and old fans alike a chance to get on the field and meet the players, because that ain't happening when you play Penn State. So this is the chance. And yeah, that's good stuff. Get guys involved. Get interaction between fans and players. This all matters. Exactly what they'll be doing will be announced in about a week, I think he said. Spring game's getting pretty close. And now he said there won't be 4 quarters of football played. How and how much, don't know. Did say there would be plenty because he knows people want to see it. So we'll have to wait and see. And my current plan is actually to do a live stream right after the spring game is over, much as I, did and will do after regular season games. I'll be setting that up as an event, so you can find that, follow, and be ready for it. Week and a half from now, I think, something like that. Around about that, yeah. 10 days. Oh, boy. Looking forward to that, and it's going to be kind of sad when spring camp is over. I know you're getting old when spring football camp gets you excited. All right, that's the primary news, a little bit of my take on things. Some things are down, Still don't know what's going to happen with the transfer portal. We have not had anybody from the football team enter that we know of. We still need to lose 3 guys minimum. And if we want to add any place, we have to lose more than that. So I'm kind of hoping somebody will enter. So, hey, it gives me something to talk about. And it starts to settle some of those questions. All right. I will be back. In the meantime, please subscribe to the channel. As I said, I'm too old to be going door to door trying to get subscriptions. I did door-to-door sales in the past, and stereo sales, and car sales, and concrete work, and building prefab houses. Oh, it's nice to kind of sit here in the comfort of my home and talk. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for dropping in.